Tapering off weed. So, is tapering off weed actually effective? Sure, for some people it's actually been very beneficial rather than cold turkeying and getting off of excessive marijuana consumption. What they actually end up doing is start to taper back. They go from, let's say, smoking bongs to maybe smoking a joint for the day. And then eventually they monitor how much of that joint that they smoke, and it becomes less and less that they're consuming daily. And eventually they're able to stop entirely with minimal withdrawal symptoms. And now that can be an effective tool for some people to utilize and succeed with. But what actually causes a lot of these people to return to marijuana? So some people that don't taper off actually return due to withdrawal symptoms, such as they're not sleeping, depression, anxiety, irritability, sweating excessively at night, having to get up in the middle of the night and change their clothes because they're just drenched in sweat. Now that's reasons why some people return is the withdrawal symptoms. But when you taper off, it's actually a little less that you experience the withdrawal symptoms. And some people don't really experience much withdrawal symptoms at all. But more than 70% of the people that I have talked to with this tapering off as a solution still end up returning to marijuana. And one of the things I have found that is very common amongst these clients is what goes on is they do well. They've been off it for years. And now they've relaxed and accepted, I don't have this issue anymore. I am now effectively gotten over my addiction. And on some level, that's true. They're not thinking about it as much every day. They're not consumed with it. But then something, and this is for most of the people, something happens out of the ordinary. Whether it's the loss of a family member, loss of employment, such as the things that happened back in COVID, or just some other really life-altering thing. Back when we actually had COVID, a lot of people ended up having to stay inside, depending on what state and country that they lived in. And one of the things that I think a lot of people were side-blinded with is when you have to stay home, you can't hang out with friends, you can't go out and do these public enjoyment things such as gatherings or all these other events that you might attend to. You have to sit at home with yourself. Yeah. So what if you don't have a great relationship with yourself? What if you struggle to be with yourself and not get consumed with your own mind, with your own feelings, with the past, with the future, whether that's anxiety, depression? So that right there is what actually has caused at least 70% of the clients that I've talked to relapse. So something in their life happened after they had years of not feeling like they had addiction anymore. They actually were in a relaxed state of acceptance. Hey, I'm over this issue. This is no longer an issue for me. But then something out of left field just happens, and it's overwhelming to their system. And subconsciously, for years, when they had smoked, it was a solution. It was something that they could access, they could do, that could immediately shift them into a more desirable state, an emotionally desirable state, whether it was laughter or just feeling more relaxed and calm. And so when this huge life event happens, and it's overwhelming to their system, unlike other things that may have happened over the years that were just, minor inconveniences, this was overwhelming. They just go right back to what is subconsciously been programmed in their mind from habitual, ritualistic repetition. Is to pick up the joint, smoke it, and you'll be okay. And it's easy, especially when you have all these dispensaries that are popping up everywhere. So what really goes on here is a lot of people that quit, they taper off, and it's actually very effective in minimizing some of the withdrawal symptoms. I actually suggest it to you before you even book a call with me. If anything, try some of these things that I'm going to be showing on this page to help you quit. If you don't need to see me, I don't want to see you. If anything, I want to help you for free. I want to get you the tools that you need. And yes, I will see clients that are just not able to get through this on their own. And that's where, as a professional, there is where you can pay me. But tapering off is something I suggest, because when it comes to the withdrawal symptoms, if you can get through those, and then you can stay conscious that you have an addiction, and that this addiction is more of a subconscious issue. So you need to stay conscious that you're not going to smoke. It's not an option. You got to stop. And as long as you stay conscious of that, and you build some disciplines when it comes to managing your stress, you might be able to quit long term. But the relapse, the coming back to it, more than anything else, just tends to come from a complete overwhelm to their system, to where they don't have the internal emotional resource state or the tool in the toolbox to say, you know what, this sucks, but I'll be fine. You know what, I'm going to start working out at home since I have to be stuck in my house due to COVID. I'm going to start calling up friends of mine and talking to them. I might catch up with some family members that I haven't talked to in a while. Or I'm going to pick up a couple books and start reading some self-help books. Stay busy, stay active. But that's not necessarily where most people's brains go, because that's not what they've programmed in their system for years and years. If anything, they have more time spent in, well, I could just smoke this and I'll be okay. That's not really what you want. Because let's face it, you're here on this video listening to my content probably because you're at that point in your life where you feel like it's more of a vice, that you're at war with yourself, trying to quit this habit, trying to get away from it. But the withdrawal symptoms or the life issues that you're going through seemingly loop you right back into smoking. That sucks. I'm sorry. It's not enjoyable. Now, I could tell you, well, you just need to create more resource states and just choose to do those. I could tell you that all day. You probably know some things that you could be doing to help you in your life become a better, skilled individual when it comes to dealing with stresses. Meditation, yoga, exercising, reading books, going for a jog, working out, getting back into having a social community, getting rid of friends that have addictions, finding friends that are more outgoing than you to help lift you up to maybe their level and help you increase your finances. Maybe leave that job and go for that dream job and, improve yourself for that. I could tell you all these things, but if you have that internal drive going for you, you're not going to do it. You're going to default back to what you've programmed in this whole time. So that, as a hypnotist, that's where I come in, and I can actually help you get that resource state that you're looking for in your life, to help you to where you don't need to go to pot when life does get difficult. If anything, when life gets difficult, you become a more well-rounded version of yourself, and you find new outlets, new ways to become more creative as an individual without the need of marijuana. So if you're actually ready to deal with this issue, or you view it as an issue, hit me up.